10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock on this Friday, the 17th day of March, 2023. Yup. Always start off our program letting you know that we're trying to make it right on time. If we're not here at 10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock, you better start checking on me. 22 degrees is the current temperature here in the Meadow City. Yes, yes, yes. We got snow last night. I got people from Albuquerque. I got people from Espanola. A lot of people asking me, did you get any snow last night? And yup is the answer. But I have good news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Really good news for you. Prayer line is open at 505-310-9658. In the midst of a world that seems like it's getting crazier and crazier and spinning out of control, there is a place, and we can help you find that place. We're not saying that the prayer line is the place, but we are just ambassadors. We're just ushering you and taking you toward the throne of grace, and that's the real place there. And prayer line is open for you right now at 505-310-9658. It's a Friday morning, the 17th day of March. And for you regular listeners, you know exactly what that means. That means that we are going to be here only till about 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, we cut it off early on Fridays most of the time. If you're traveling, you're in our area, Espanola, Santa Fe, even Rio Rancho, Taos, those areas, we all had a lot of delays to go along with them. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Be careful on the streets. So let's get into our study for today. As you see there on the screen, if you're with us on Facebook or on YouTube, we are in the 15th chapter of the book of Isaiah. An oracle concerning Moab, because Ar of Moab is laid waste at night. Moab is undone, because Ker of Moab is laid waste in a night. Moab is undone. Now, Isaiah, once again, God allows him all that is going on. Let's talk about how God prepares a person. You know, the Bible has enough. It doesn't talk about what each and every one of these people who wrote down scriptures went through. But we can pick enough in the lives of different people, whether it's Moses and Moses went through his own 40 years before the nation of Israel came out of Egypt. I mean, God prepared Moses out there Moses had his own wilderness experience before Israel had their wilderness experience. For him, the wilderness was a walk in the park. He said, man, I've been out here all these years, watching the sheep, tending the sheep. Now I got God's sheep and I'm tending them. All he knew was that it was a training ground. David the same way. And see, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. David wrote all of the songs and sang all of these songs that were, in the songbook of Israel. But we say how God prepared him. New Testament, God prepared the Peters and the Pauls of the world, the Matthews, the Johns. All of these were prepared. They just didn't, Isaiah just didn't wake up one day and God began to give him all of these, visions and dreams and, like a widescreen theater. All of a sudden, he's, okay, see it, write it down and tell the people. No, he had been prepared by God. And God's been giving him, telling him what's going to happen to Judah, telling him what was going to happen to the northern kingdom, talking about Assyria, talking about Babylon, talking about the Philistines and what's going to happen to Philistia. And all these things, God had already prepared this man to receive his word. And there is a preparation to receive his word. You have to realize that and you have to expect it. The trials and tribulations are there to train you. It's called training for reigning. We have Andrea with us this morning. We have Tim Turner with us this morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our listeners from Tim Turner. In fact, at 9:15 this morning on Breakpoint, we're going to have about a 5-minute program explaining what St. Patrick's Day is already all about. But we have an oracle. We have, and I looked it up, and if you're on with us and you can see the screen, a divine utterance. Okay? A divine utterance, an oracle concerning Moab. And I was surprised that the word oracle does not show up in the Webster's dictionary. So maybe maybe he fell asleep during some of the O's when Daniel Webster was making his dictionary. Don't know, but here we are this morning. A divine utterance concerning Moab. God speaking to Isaiah, and Isaiah speaking what's going to happen in about 3 years concerning Moab. Now, where and who is Moab? Because that's important. Let's see if I can help answer the where first. And if you allow me to do this, I think I can knock down a little bit. Here is Moab, okay? If you were looking at our map this morning and you see the Mediterranean Sea, okay, not the Red Sea, not the Persian Gulf, but there on the left you see the Mediterranean Sea. Let's adjust this up just a little bit, okay? Mediterranean Sea. Israel is there. See where it says Gaza, Samaria. We've been talking a lot about Samaria, Judah, places like that. There is Moab. Moab was on the east side of the Dead Sea. Okay, but who was Moab really is just as important. Moab was a son of Lot. You remember Lot. Now, you're not going to like the story, some of you, very much, but one thing you got to love about the Bible, it's going to tell you the story. It's not going to say, well, we don't talk about Moab, mama too much and who the daddy was, but here's the story. Chana, good morning. Moab was the son of Lot. Now, when Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot was visited by the angels, and when the angels had taken Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah before the fire and brimstone fell, Lot didn't have any sons. And on the way out, because remember, the reason that they left was because of the immorality that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, pounding on the door all night long of Lot's house, trying to get in because the people, the men in the town, wanted to have sex with the angels. So that's the type of immorality that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. And God had to come down and check it for himself. In fact, the angels had to block the door, and Lot finally goes out there and says, hey, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Take these guys, and said, but leave the angels alone. Shame on you, Lot. But finally, when it's time to go, the next day when it was time to leave Sodom and Gomorrah before the destruction, the angels had to grab him by the hands. Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters had to grab him by the hand and almost pull them out of Sodom and Gomorrah. And on the way out, the wife looked back and turned to a pillar of salt. So they find a place that was agreeable to Lot and agreeable to the angels and the daughters of Lot, far enough away from Sodom and Gomorrah, and the wife is gone. So, did Lot marry again? Did he have another wife and he had 2 sons and one of them name was Moab? Well, he did marry again, but he had 2 sons. And if you follow the story, you'll find out in the book of Genesis that his daughters purposely got Lot drunk. And one slept with Lot one night, and one slept with Lot the next night, and both of them became pregnant, and Moab was the older son of Moab was the older son of Lot through an incestuous relationship with his daughter. Drunk as a skunk, but not that drunk. So that's the story, and this is the word concerning Moab. Now, Moab was a property, as I've told you already, that was very close to Israel, right on the other side, on the east side of the Dead Sea is where Moab's territory was, and at different times it was bigger than others, determining how strength, they were concerning their military and all that stuff. The Ammonites are right there, the Moabites, they were right neighbors with each other, but Moabites historically were always a stick in the eye of Israel. There was always this contention, but there was a relationship between them. And because Moab was related to Lot, when it came time for Israel to get close to the promised land, God said, don't mess with Moab. Leave Moab, same way that he did with the Edomites. There was the hand of protection over Moab because of his connection to Abraham's nephew Lot. But still, when they entered into the land after Joshua in those times, especially after Joshua passed away, there was a lot of contention, and then at times they were, getting along with each other and everything was hunky-dory and, welcome to the state of affairs, the way things happen. Good morning, Joe. How's everybody out in Santa Fe? So let me know, snow. I need for you to get out your tape measures or your yard rulers or whatever it is, and let me know how much snow it is in your area so we can tell the people here. And maybe somebody's traveling I-25. I doubt it, but you might let us know. An oracle concerning Moab, so you have a little bit of a history about Moab. Because Ar of Moab, Ar was their capital city, is laid waste in a night. Moab is undone because Kir, another city in Moab, is laid waste in a night. Moab is undone. Isaiah, once again, a man that had been prepared, a man that had been dealt with by God, to the point where God could speak his word to them through his personality. Isaiah could speak these words, not like a robot, not like some, psychic writer or something like that. A man who just knew how to hear from God clear and would separated himself away from the, whatever the obstacles could have been in his day, and immorality, iniquity, and injustice, and all this stuff that was going on in the land. And he sees what's going to happen to Moab in about 3 years, because the Assyrians were going to come. Those same Assyrians that took the northern kingdom, those same Assyrians that tried to take Jerusalem, but before that, they went after Moab. And really, I believe, is it in the mind of the Assyrians or the Babylonians or anybody that was coming through trying to rape and pillage and do what, empires do, they were headed to Egypt. I think the big prize was to get down to Egypt and to take that other empire, take it down. But God's plan was, you come and you do what I want you to do. And only when, and only who, and only how that I want you to do it. You don't do it my way, you're going to suffer the consequences. We saw that yesterday when we were talking about Babylon. 1 foot in Sapeo, New Mexico. 12 inches. There you go. She couldn't take her little granddaughter's school ruler. She had to go out there and get a tape measure, make sure. Probably the school ruler is in the bottom of the snow someplace, sunk right deep down within it. Thank you, Chana, for that report. Ar is a city. Kir is a city laid waste in a night. Moab is undone. And Isaiah sees the reaction of the people. Isaiah sees the hurt that is upon these people. Their hearts are broken. He has gone up to the temple and to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab now as a people, not just as a person, looking around and seeing that their temple was destroyed, the temple to their counterfeit god. And to Dibon, to the high places to weep. They went up to the high, you know what it's talking about, the high places? You know, when that song says we're going up to the high places to tear the devil's kingdom down, that's where all those altars were. That at night they would build fires and they would make sacrifices to demon gods. You just thought it was Israel? No, it was all over the place. Israel was just copying what they were seeing from the Moabites, the Amorites, the Philistines, and all over there. He has gone up to the temple and to Dibon, to the places to weep over Nebo, Nebo was the mountain that Moses was taken up. Wasn't that the mountain that Moses was taken up and was able to look over the border into the promised land before he passed away? Over Medeba, Moab wails. On every head is baldness, every beard is shorn. In the streets they wear sackcloth. On the housetops and in the squares everyone wails and melts in tears. Better play a song to get us to the bottom of the hour. But notice how tore up, how destroyed these people are emotionally. If their little country, not so little, but their country Moab has been destroyed.
Why do I feel discouraged? Why do the shadows come? And why does my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. So I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. Yeah, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. So I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. Yeah, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches. And I know He watches
Prayer line open for you till 8 o'clock in the morning at 505-310-9658. We're looking at road conditions right now. Row area on I-25, they are reporting severe driving conditions. So that's about exit 299 or 300, I believe, is where, I think it's exit 299 is where the row exit is. So there's probably some problems between here and Santa Fe right now on I-25. Other than that, I didn't see anything really major. Just going out about another 100 miles around Las Vegas or so. Don't see anything. In Santa Fe, if you're in Santa Fe, I-25, mile marker 284, Old Pecos Trail to mile marker 302, 18 miles north of Santa Fe. Okay, so that's coming in 302, 299, so about Glorieta, right around that area or so is where it can get a little dicey. So I-25 between Las Vegas, but north of Las Vegas, I don't see much. I don't see anything in the way from the highway department. 22 degrees is our current temperature. We currently are under a winter weather advisory that's in effect until noon today. So here's our updated weather report for you. Let's see if we pull that up real fast. Mostly cloudy today. They're showing a 60% chance of scattered snow showers. High near 31 degrees. East wind 6 to 11 miles per hour. Tonight, 40% chance of scattered snow showers. Tomorrow, 40% chance of scattered snow showers with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 34 degrees. And on Sunday, warming up to 43 degrees with partly cloudy skies and west-southwest winds 6 to 15 miles per hour. We might not see the 50s again until Tuesday, according to our long-range weather forecast. But we are back in the scriptures this morning, and we're looking at the 15th chapter of book of Isaiah. I was going to say the 15th chapter of Moab, okay, but no, it's talking about Moab. They're completely weeping. When they talk about every head is baldness and every beard is shorn. In the streets they wear sackcloth, on the housetops and in the squares everyone wails and melts in tears. The Assyrians came in and just leveled everything, and took whoever they wanted to take and left behind whoever they wanted to take behind. When they say their heads are bald, they've shaved their heads and their beards. They're so destroyed. Their beard and their hair, that was like it, baby. The bigger the beard, it was, oh, look at that guy's beard. But no, they're all shaving them off, and mourning is happening because of what's going to happen. They're not mourning yet, but Isaiah is saying it's a coming. Heshbon and Elealeh cry out. Their voice is heard as far as Jahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud. His soul trembles. The armed men, those who were supposed to defend Moab, cry aloud. That army that came against them was just too tough for them. The heart cries out for Moab. Her fugitives flee to Zoar, to Eglath Shalishaliah. Yeah, that place, Shalishayah. I tried that 14 different ways last night. Shalishayah. Came up with a different pronunciation every time, so we'll just go with Shalishayah now. Trace of snow in Santa Fe and snowing lightly. No snow in Espanola, 12 inches in Sapeo. For at the ascent of Luhith they go up weeping. On the road to Horonaim they raise a cry of destruction. The waters of Nimrim are a desolation. The grass is withered. The vegetation fails. The greenery is no more. What happened to our beautiful Moab? What happened to our beautiful land? what happened around the river Arnon and all of the people that were there, the Moabites, the sons of Lot. Therefore, the abundance they have gained and what they have laid up, they carry away over the brook of the willows. The little bit that is left over, throw it in a pillowcase, and they're dragging it over to the brook of willows. And like I say, Isaiah saw this, and anybody who was following in Moab in those days had an idea of what could be coming their way. But many times we just kind of turn our eyes on it. We just say, it's kind of like when we were talking about The Harbingers by Jonathan Cahn. 9/11 came. What was it? What was the chapter? Was it in chapter 11 of Isaiah where the leaders of the northern kingdom, Samaria, got up after the first war with the Assyrians and said, the walls have been broken, but we will rebuild, and we'll rebuild them stronger. And the trees have been cut down, but we will plant with better trees. Little did they know that the wall, they weren't going to have time to rebuild the walls. They were going to have time to see the trees that they had replanted, because the Assyrians are going to come back and they were going to tear it down. And in their pride and their arrogance, and Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, he draws some very interesting parallels to Isaiah chapter 11 and the Twin Towers being felled by the planes. I would recommend that you check it out. But this is a little bit different. This is Moab, but they knew that destruction, they could know, they could have had some very, well, you know what, that prophet, that crazy prophet over there in Jerusalem, he's saying, man, that pretty soon things are going to happen. And chapter 16 and chapter 15 cover it. For a cry has gone around the land of Moab. Her wailing reaches to Eglaim. Her wailing reaches to Beer Elim. For the waters of Dibon are full of blood. For I will bring upon Dibon even more a lion for those of Moab who escape, for the remnant of the land. It says whatever the Assyrians couldn't take, and I'm pretty sure it was the Assyrians who destroyed it. But just do your homework on that one over there. I keep saying Assyrians, and somebody out there might be saying, hey, it wasn't the Assyrians, it was the Chaldeans, the Persians. Pretty much all the same. Hard to distinguish between all of those people north of Israel. The waters of Dibon are full of blood, for I will bring upon Dibon even more, a lion for those of Moab who escape, for the remnant to the land. Send the lamb to the ruler of the land. Send the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah by the way of the desert to the mount of the daughter of Zion. He says, maybe if you send a sacrifice to Jerusalem, there'll be hope. It's almost like there's a hint of possible redemption for Moab. But you know what they're going to say? We have our own gods. We have Chemosh, or we have Ashtoreth, or we have, and I think it was Chemosh who was probably the head and principality that was there, sent from Satan himself to send the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah by the way of the desert to the mount of the daughter of Zion. Like fleeing birds, like a scattered nest, so are the daughters of Moab at the fords of Arnon. Watch them run. They're like birds. They're just like birds fleeing from the nest, just trying to, somebody's come in and starts poking at their nest, and they're trying to survive. That's all it is right now. Well, not right now, but in 3 years to come, because Isaiah sees something that's going to happen. Once again, a man prepared to receive the word. Let's see, an interesting book. I'll try to give you some extra stuff all the time. Interesting book written by Watchman Nee. How God prepares a man to speak his word, and he talks about those specifically who wrote the scriptures. Watchman. He wrote some great books. Give counsel. Grant justice. So chapter 15 and chapter 16, in fact, some of the commentators I was looking at yesterday, they were saying they shouldn't have even divided chapter 15 and 16. I don't know why they did, because it's all one flowing prophecy about Moab. Give counsel. Grant justice. Make your shade like night at the height of the noon. Shelter the outcast. Do not reveal the fugitive. Let the outcasts of Moab sojourn among you. Be a shelter to them from the destroyer when the oppressor is no more and destruction is ceased and he who tramples underfoot has vanished from the land. Comma. Give counsel. What's this about? Here's our advice to you Moabites. Come to the real God. Hello. Redemption. Oh, look at, he's going to destroy them. They're going to be, the lion's going to get what the warriors couldn't get, the lion's going to get, and they're going to eat them all up. There's a no. Here, listen to the counsel of Isaiah. Here's what the Lord says. Give counsel, grant justice, make your shade like night at the height of the moon, and shelter the outcast. Do not reveal the fugitive. Let the outcasts of Moab sojourn among you. What's it saying? Watch this. He's telling Israel that when those that flee across the river Jordan in this time, don't kill them. Don't chase them back. Open up the borders and let them in. Ooh, somebody says, oh, yeah, there you go, another political statement. I didn't know you were on that side. In this particular situation, let the outcasts of Moab sojourn amongst you. Give them counsel, grant them justice. Give them shade in the height of noon. Shelter the outcasts. Do not reveal the fugitive. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Moabites here, is there, Mom? Nope, no here. Let the outcasts of Moab sojourn among you. Be a shelter to them from the destroyer when the oppressor is no more and destruction has ceased and he who tramples underfoot has vanished from the land. When the Assyrians go back home, let the outcasts sojourn among you. Be a shelter to them from the destroyer when the oppressor is no more and the destruction has ceased and he who tramples underfoot is vanished from the land. Then a throne will be established in steadfast love. The evangelism. Then a throne will be established, and on it will sit in faithfulness in the tent of David, one who judges and seeks justice and is swift to do righteousness. I believe that this is an invitation for Moab, the Moabites, the distant relatives of the sons of Abraham, to come to the true and to the living God. Well, but they've been fighting against us, and they did to this 100 years ago, and 200 years they go this, and 50 years ago they did that. That was then, ladies and gentlemen. We have a hard time. We use history to our advantage. Only when we want to. Only when we want to use it as a tool of division. And I believe the Lord is telling Moab through the lips of Isaiah, you're going to have a place to go, and you guys take care of them when they come. A throne will be established in steadfast love. What throne is that? Could that be the throne of Messiah? Could that be the throne of grace? Hello? Anybody out there? And on it will sit in faithfulness in the tent of David, one who judges and seeks justice and is swift to do righteousness. Verse 6. We have heard of the pride of Moab, how proud he is, of his arrogance, his pride, and his insolence in his idle boasting, he is not right. Therefore, let Moab wail for Moab. Let everyone wail. Mourn utterly stricken for the raisin cakes of Kir Hareseth. Says, let them, just leave them alone for a while. But they're going to come. You're going to see the stragglers. They're going to be coming. That root of Moab isn't going to die. And I want my people to take care of them when they do come, to shelter them, to feed them. Let Moab wail for Moab. Let everyone wail. Mourn, utterly stricken for the raisin cakes. Let them remember, oh my God, the raisin cakes that we used to have in Moab. Where was it? In the town of Kir Hareseth. Oh, they made the best ones. Oh, we so miss them so. But guess what? For the fields of Heshboth languish, and the vine of Sigma, the lords of the nations, have struck down its branches, which reached to Jazer, and strayed to the desert. Its shoots spread abroad and passed over the sea. Now you want to talk about history? What was going to happen was that the stragglers that were going to come over to Israel from Moab in their time of destruction were going to be that root stock that was going to spring up, and the land was going to flourish again. It's never the end the way that we think it is. Samaria was going to be taken by the Assyrians. Judah was going to be taken by the Babylonians. Moab was going to have their day of discipline. But from the root, there is going to spring up. And I believe that there's going to be a people that are going to be grateful to the people who worship Yahweh. But there was going to be some destruction along the way. Trials and tribulation. Therefore I weep with the weeping of Jazer for the vine of Sibmah. Not only were crying out for the baked cakes of the raisin cakes of Kir Hareseth. Oh, that raisin bread out over there. I can taste it now. I weep with the weeping of Jazer for the vine of Sibmah, those grapes from Sibmah. I drench you with my tears, O Heshbon and Elealeh, for you over your summer fruit and your harvest the shout has ceased. Israel was going to experience the same thing. In Babylon, they were going to be sitting by the river, and they were going to be singing songs of Israel. But they say, how can we be happy because we're not in Israel? There's a psalm that goes along with that. Joy and gladness are taken away from the fruitful field, and in the vineyards no songs are sung, no cheers are raised, no treader treads out wine in the presses. I have put an end to the shouting. God's going to deal with them. God's going to get their attention again. These are just distant relatives of Israel, but God says, Israel, please take care of them. Well, they didn't take care of us in the time of Moses. Why? Shh. That was then. This is now. Therefore, my inner parts moan like a lyre for Moab. Lyre is not this one is L-Y-R-E. If you're not following with us on our screen, it's kind of like a guitar, violin, some type of musical instrument. And my inmost self for Kir Hareseth. There was a pain, a hurt. God was hurting for these people. Yeah, but they're Moabites. They're not Hebrews. Hey. God's not willing that any should perish. When Moab presents himself, when he wearies himself on the high place, when he comes to his sanctuary to pray, he will not prevail. Okay, let's go in to the what it would have been there. It would have had to have been the temple of their god. They said, let's go in, let's pray. Here come the Assyrians. Maybe Chemosh will save us in that day. When Moab presents himself, when he wearies himself on the high place, when he comes to his sanctuary to pray, he will not prevail. This is the word that the Lord spoke concerning Moab in the past. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, in 3 years, like the years of a hired worker, the glory of Moab will be brought into contempt. In spite of all his great multitude, and all those who remain will be very few and feeble. And it almost gives us that idea that Moab, when Isaiah was speaking this word, were doing real well. The economy of the country was doing good. Harvests were coming in. People were being, enriched. They were being profitable in the things that they were doing, and everything was going real smooth. But their focus was not on the Lord God Almighty. And he says, I'm going to get them back again. The Lord has spoken, saying in 3 years, like the years of a hired worker, the glory of Moab will be brought into contempt in spite of all his great multitude, and those who remain will be very few and feeble. But we'll rebuild, we'll rebuild in God's way, not in man's way, because in 11th chapter of Hebrews, the Sumerians said, we're going to do it. We. That was the devil, like we looked at in just yesterday's program when we were talking about the Babylonians. I will. No, sirree, I'm sorry. There's going to be a place for you in Sheol, and people are going to look at you and say, is this the man that deceived the nations? Chapter 17. And this is where we're going to leave it for today. But here is an oracle concerning Damascus. And you do your homework, you find out Damascus was a city in Lebanon, which was directly north of Israel. Okay, the northern kingdom shared a border with Lebanon, and Damascus was the big town there. And God, and like I tell you, all the next what would be almost 18 chapters or so are going to cover different words. Cush in chapter 18. Okay, let's see if that's it looks like a short one. Cush is going to be spoken to Egypt. I imagine this will be a longer one. Yep, Egypt is going to be in chapter 19. Still Egypt and Cush, okay, in 20. And if you notice, back to Babylon and talking about Babylon again. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our bookmark on the 16th chapter or 17th chapter of Isaiah, and that's where we're going to resume tomorrow. So just to let people know is that I-25 between here and Santa Fe looks like it has some treacherous driving, 2-hour delays for west school systems, east school systems. Both of them have 2-hour delays. The campus of Highlands University is closed today, so nobody has to show up to work. I don't see anything at Luna, and there's a lot of delays all around our area now. Andrea's telling us there's no snow in Espanola, but probably out around Cordova and some of those other places where kids are coming to school, it's too dangerous for them to be on the road. And that is our study for today. I am going to get a song here, and we're going to let Sarah Gross take us up to the top of the hour, and we will have a rebroadcast of not yesterday's, but Sunday's teaching. And you can find Sunday's teaching also on our webpage, lvcornerstone.com. A lot of old sermons that are there from weeks, months, and maybe even years back. Sarah Groves is up next singing Come Thou Fount. We'll see all you people next time, maybe Monday or Sunday. How about Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning?